Hey guys, what's going on? Garanax here, bringing you another video on 7 Deadly Sins Grand Cross. Today's update was especially early. It was done like 4 hours before the usual maintenance time. Not sure why when it comes to Escanor, Netmarble just want to mess up the whole schedule. They did this with the green Escanor too. But I love how the tavern looks right now. It's so beachy. B-E-A-C-H-I-E. Beachy. I don't know if that's a word. I think this video might be a little late. Many of you may have already summoned on this banner, but still I want to share with you my opinion on this banner. So the new units that we are getting this week are Red Escanor and Red Galland. Both of these units will eventually be added into the coin shop, so that's definitely one thing to take note. Let us first take a look at the banner rates. So we have the Red Escanor and Red Galland, both at 0.5% chance. However, the rest of the units are again not very exciting, just like the Red King banner. I'm not really sure why they have changed things up. Like the previous banners before the Part 2 SSR tickets come out, the banner will always include the previous week's units in it. Now they just don't include them anymore. So if you are looking for Red King or Blue Demon Meliodas, they are not in this banner. Now let's take a look at Red Escanor's skill. So his first skill inflicts amplify damage equals to 180% of attack on one enemy on rank 1. On rank 2 is 270%, and then on rank 3 is 450%. So amplify deals additional damage of 30% per active buff on Escanor himself. For his second skill, on rank 1 inflicts damage equals to 150% of attack on all enemies. On rank 2, inflicts 150% of attack on all enemies and depletes 1 ult gauge. And on rank 3 is a 250% attack and then depletes 3 ult gauge. So this is the exact same skill as Blue Lilia. And his ult is the same as Green Escanor, which deals a huge amount of damage. For level 1, it's 840% of attack, and then with the Merlin as the associations, the damage is 960%. His passive applies an effect on the hero which increases HP related stats by 50% at the start of the battle for 3 turns. So basically what that means is that Escanor will start the battle with a buff that increases HP related stats by 50% for 3 turns. So Escanor, as always, is just a powerhouse. Based on the Grand Cross database, Green Escanor has a slightly higher attack, whereas Red Escanor has a slightly higher HP. But every other stats are the same. So just from that, you can imagine how hard Red Escanor will hit. His skill kits have a great synergy as well. His first skill has Amplify, which deals additional 30% damage per buff on Escanor. And his passive just starts the battle with a buff. So he just starts with an additional damage right off the bat. So if you pair him with buffers like Green Gil Thunder, Blue List Hawk, and especially Red Arthur, because Red Arthur's buff actually gives 3 buffs instead, Red Escanor will have insane damage. And his second skill is just a very convenient AoE drain. So he works really well with Red Arthur and Red Gother in a mono red team. Arthur will give him the buff to enhance his first skill, and then Gother will upgrade his cards for additional damage and get the drain more easily. So that's going to be a team comp that you'll see very often. In terms of gear, I would go for attack and defense set. For myself, I have a very simple rule. If the unit is meant to deal damage, just go with attack and defense. If the unit has to stay alive as long as possible, then go with HP and defense. Of course, there are some other arguments for using HP defense for Escanor. Maybe to boost your CC, or maybe to have a better balance between damage and survivability. But personally, I will go for attack and defense. Now let us take a look at Red Galland's skill. So his first skill inflicts shatter damage equals to 180% of attack on one enemy on rank 1. On rank 2 is 270%, and then on rank 3 is 450%. So as we all know, shatter ignores resistance, so that is the same as King's ult. His second skills remove buff from one enemy and inflict damage equals to 220% of attack on the rank 1. On rank 2 is a 300% attack, And then on rank 3, cancels buff and stances on one enemy and inflicts damage equals to 400% of attack. His ult is the same as the Blue Galland's ult, increases basic stats by 50% for 3 turns and inflicts damage equals to 420% of attack on one enemy. His passive strength attribute heroes ignores 30% of enemy defense when using skills, excluding counter stance skills. And his commandment is the same as the Blue Galland, which petrifies heroes who uses rank up or rank down skills for 2 turns. The first thing that came to my mind is Red Galland seems like a counter to Red Escanor, because Escanor starts the battle with a buff and Galland is able to remove that buff immediately with a rank 1 second skill. And his first skill ignores resistance, which we know that Escanor has a pretty high resistance. But according to the Grand Cross database, Red Galland actually has a lower attack than Blue Galland, which we know that Blue Galland doesn't actually hit that hard without his ult. So Red Galland might not have enough damage after all. However, these are all just my impressions. I have not personally tested them yet. But aside from that, his skill kit looks pretty decent, and his passive will fit perfectly into a mono red team to boost up damage. Based on how his passive is worded, it should work if you put him in the sub slot. So he might be worth the try to bring into Final Boss Merlin as a sub to increase your team's damage if you are using a mono red team. In terms of gear, I will just go with attack and defense, just because his skill kits are meant for damage, not for utility. So now that we've gone through both Red Escanor and Red Galland's skills, should you summon on this banner? Number 1, if you are very much into PvP and wants to stay very competitive, yes, you should summon for Escanor because he is such a strong game-changing unit. Just like how everyone in Global just slaps a green Escanor into any team when he first came out, simply because he's Escanor. Number 2, if you don't have any other units for Final Boss Merlin and you are looking for a DPS unit urgently, yes, you should summon for Escanor because he will work well in Final Boss Merlin. Number 3, if you are a whale, a collector, or just love Escanor, yes, you should summon for Escanor. However, if your teams are currently working very well in PvE and PvP, or if you don't have enough gems, don't summon on this banner and just wait for him to be in the coin shop and buy him with plat coins. He should be in the coin shop in like 2 to 4 weeks time. As for Galland, he's an average unit, so you shouldn't be summoning specifically for Galland unless you're a whale or a collector. For myself, I have spent all my plat coins on Merlin last week, and I have also spent all my silver coins to buy stamina pots for the half stamina. So I have actually already summoned on this banner, because if I get Escanor, that's great. If not, I'll get the coins and prepare myself to buy him from the coin shop. And guess what? I did not get him. What's new, eh? I still don't have both the Escanor. However, these are my opinions. If you really love Escanor or Galland, or if you have extra gems lying around, go ahead and pull for him. What matters the most is that you are enjoying the game, and I hope you enjoy my content as well. Anyway, I hope this video will give those of you who haven't summoned on the banner some insights into these two units. I know it's a little late because I was busy with work, so I couldn't prepare the video earlier. But if you have anything else to add on, please feel free to comment down below. If you enjoyed the video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel for more 7 Deadly Sins Grand Cross videos. That's it for today. Take care and have a great day ahead.